the Honda dealership told me that there is a valve inspection slash valve adjustment at 600 miles. So I was like, what the heck? Valve inspection slash valve adjustment at 600 miles? No freaking way! So when I got home, I did check the manual, the owner's manual, and then I found out that it's true. There is a valve inspection, valve adjustment at 600 miles. Alright? Valve inspection, valve adjustment if needed at 600 miles. And you know what? The dealership where I picked up or where I bought my bike, they charge $380 for the valve inspection, for the valve adjustment if needed. So, it sucks. Honda, what the hell?
Now, about the engine of this bike. Hey, fuel injected. Definitely way smoother than the carbureted engine of the Kawasaki Ninja 250R. The engine of this bike is so finessed, so smooth, and it's more refined than the engine of the Kawasaki Ninja 250R. You know what? Cruising around on the side street, you can cruise in 4th gear at 45 miles per hour at ease. The engine is more refined than the Ninja 250R. But you know what? Riding this bike on the canyons, the Ninja 250R has more top end speed than this bike. But if you will ask me, let's say for everyday commute, riding from my home to work, I choose this bike over the Kawasaki Ninja 250R. The single cylinder gives a faster acceleration. It's more smooth really. But for a weekend canyon run, once a week or 2 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, I will choose or I will ride the Ninja 250R instead than riding this bike. Because on the canyons, the way I ride, the way my friends and I ride, high speed, the Ninja 250R can easily smoke this bike. The Ninja 250R has more top end speed than this bike. Alright, now, which one is lighter? The Ninja 250R or this bike? Well, I haven't done my homework yet, but if you want to look at the specs online, go ahead. But you know what? When I rode this bike 2 days ago in the canyons, man, I can say to you that this bike is lighter, it's more agile and maneuverable, but it lacks the top end speed of the Ninja 250R. But on the street and then on the freeway, this bike is more easy to ride than the Ninja 250R. But like I said, it lacks the top end speed. I mean, single cylinder, you know, it has a bigger cylinder head than what the Ninja 250R has. So, you know, bigger cylinder gives you a faster acceleration, but it lacks the top end speed. So if you are going to choose between this bike and the Ninja 250R, it's all about your preferences, and it's all about how you ride and where you ride, really. Now, shifting gear, shifting up, shifting down, which bike is smoother? This bike or the Kawasaki Ninja 250R? Well, I vote for this bike, really. But like I said, the only thing that I don't like about this bike is that, let's say at the intersection, and then the green light popped out, you need to stamp the gear pedal really hard for you to be able to put the bike in first gear. But you know, when the bike starts running and you're cruising around, shifting gear, shifting up, shifting down, this bike delivers a better performance than the Ninja 250R. Now, the big and final question is, are you going to have fun riding this bike? Well, it really depends on how you ride and where you ride. Let's say you live in Southeast Asia. Let's say you live in the Philippines. That's where I grew up. That's where I was born and grew up, really, in the Philippines. You know what, to be honest with you guys, let's say in the Philippines, you don't need this bike really. 125cc underbone motorcycle is good enough for you guys. Because you know, we have a helter-skelter road, tight and narrow roads, very crowded. We don't need a 250cc motorcycle in the Philippines. 125cc is enough for you guys who are living in the Philippines. Alright? Now, let's say if you live here in the United States, well, let's say you live in Texas, you live in Florida, you live in the Midwest, where there are no canyons but farms, straight roads. You know what? Get a freaking Hayabusa or ZX14, because this bike will make you bored really. But if you will ride with us on the canyons, if you will ask me if this bike is good for you, good for us, well, to me this bike is good. I don't really need a liter bike for me to have fun riding on the canyons. This bike will give me a blast really. Now the question is, can this bike keep up with the 600 and the liter bikes? Well, it's all about the rider. It's all about the rider and not the bike really. So it really depends on how good or how bad rider you are. Alright?